Okay, I think we should take a look at Siv Zayin. Let's move to Siv Zayin.
It was the first Monday for Shabbos.
Yeah. Af mi she'en yodei maseges laharbes Michoel Shabbos.
What the simon?
Simon Reish Membez.
Hey.
Sif Zayin. It's right in the beginning, the first simon.
Reish
Membez, the first simon, Sif Zayin. Even someone who cannot afford to add additional foods for Shabbos, it's best for him to be careful not to make less than 2 dishes for Shabbos, 2 extra dishes. So normally during the week, you would have, let's say, some bread and something else with it. You should add at least 2 dishes that will cover Shabbos. Not only that, but it's a good thing. It's best to be careful to eat fish during all the sudas.
From where they're taking it, how we know we have to eat second?
Good question. Kabbalah.
It's them, Kabbalah.
That's them. There's Kabbalistic reasons.
I
make Kabbalah, but it's not Alpi Nigla. Elim Kain Hadogim Mazikim Loi Lifitivoi Oishasoinam She'er Loi Behem Oinig Alatzar. Shabbos Oinig Nitin. Unless he doesn't, it's not good for him to eat fish. He's allergic to it, or he doesn't like the taste. So then, it's not an oinig for him, it's a tsar. So that Chacham didn't want you to be tsar on Shabbos. What happens if the goyim are lifting up the price of the fish? Because there's a certain percentage of the Klal Yisrael is not able to afford it. Some are able to afford it, but there are some that can't afford it. So then, Nochin l'sakin shlo shum Yisrael mehem dogim eiz Shabbosis she'achar kach yizilu hashar v'yuchlo hakoil l'kayim etzaynik Shabbos.
Strike.
The appropriate that they should make a strike, a boycott, for a few weeks, in order that afterwards they should pull down the price. Then everyone will be able to participate in the mitzvah of Eirik Shabbos.
What happened in Pesach here?
Question.
A lot of people raise the prices. Jewish people. It's a problem.
Well, is there a difference between Goyim and Yidden?
No.
How come we're going to raise in the price? That wasn't in the kitzer. At the beginning was. But
it's a good question. I don't know. It's a good question. Why the kitzer was how you have to know the klal the kitzer.
Everything from Zion.
What was he mekatzer? He was mekatzer, right? He was a kitzer shulchan aruch. He couldn't bring everything. He had to decide what to bring and what not to bring.
I
don't know. A study needs to be made. When does he bring? What things does he bring? What doesn't he bring? In Sivchas, Mishulchol Adam Eza Dvar Michoel Shichlana b'Shabbos. Al Yichlana b'Choil. This comes from the Tzava of Yehuda HaChassid. That if someone was sent something in order for Shabbos, someone gave you a food for Shabbos, you should not eat it during the week. You should keep it for Shabbos. Because that's why it was sent to you. Now that's something from the Sefer Chassidim. However, the Alter Rebbe points out in the parentheses, that is a midas chassidus. It's a midas chassidus not to eat from it. Min hadin and isser b'davar. However, from a halachic perspective,
not to eat from what again?
There's no isser in this. If someone was sent a food for Shabbos, someone sent you food, I want to give you a good herring for Shabbos, a good bottle of wine. You shouldn't go and have it on Friday, on Thursday. You should have it on Shabbos. That's what you're sent for. But that is a midas chassidus. In Inyan, once he gave it to you, and you can have it even during the week. Siftas, motor luvis beribish al divreim, l'tzoyrech shul Shabbos v'yom tov. A person is allowed to borrow with ribbis, rabbinically prohibited ribbis, in order to have food for the Shabbos Yom Tov. Or the sharts of the mitzvah, or any other sudas mitzvah like a bris, a pidyon ben. Imi efshalivos ribbis. You don't have a possibility. The guy won't give it to you unless you give it to him with ribbis. If it's a ribbis midrabanon, you're allowed to be mekel. Chazal were mekel on their words in such situations.
There is ribbis midaraisa.
No, only ribbis midrabanon.
Okay.
Zocher is yom haShabbos lakatshe. The Kubara brings down a Beya, an interesting drasha. Machlekes between Beisham and Beisol. Beishamai learns, what does this pasuk teach you? Shetei zoichrei me'echav Shabbos. You should remember Shabbos already from Sunday. Shem is dam l'chol chelik yafa, they misaken the Shabbos. If you have something good, save it for Shabbos. Prepare it for Shabbos. It was told about the Shamei Hazakin. There's Beis Shamei and Shamei Hazakin. Shamei Hazakin is the original starter of Beis Shamei. Then there's Beis Shamei, the Yeshiva Shamei, that went on for many years even after he was nifter. Shekol Yamav Ha'yoichel L'Kavod Shabbos. Keitza Matzah Behimana Loikcha. He found a nice animal, he would buy it. The boy would say Zul Shabbos, it's for Shabbos. Matzah Acheres Naimana. He bought another behima nicer than it. Loikcha Umenichel Shabbos. He takes it and sets it aside for Shabbos. And eats the first one during the week. Nimsa comes out. Why did you eat the first animal? In order to Shabbos second one Shabbos. So even that eating was for Shabbos. Comes out that you ate a whole week for Shabbos. That's what we meant when it said about Shamei Hazakin. Kol Yamav Ha'yoichel. Great Shabbos. He was always eating with covered Shabbos. Everything he ate was with Shabbos in mind.
Like a story of Yosef Mokir Shabbat. Same situation, right?
Yeah, it was Miyaka Shabbos.
He would just happen to make sure that he has a good fish for Shabbos. She'll make a miracle and the fish is a diamond. But he is on Sunday he's eating for Shabbos. Every day he's looking for another one.
It's a diamond every day.
Yes.
By the way, Beis Shammai didn't exactly say that. Beis Shammai said, remember Shabbos from Sunday already. You found something good, prepare for Shabbos. Shamei Hazakin was a little bit more than that. And all his days, he would eat for Shabbos in this manner that we explained. The Gemara says, Aval Hil Hazakin, Mida Acheres, Haisabai. He had a different behavior. He would say, Baruch Hashem, Yoim, Yoim, Yamaslanu. Hashem will send us Tzarkenu. Hashem will send us whatever we need every day. Even Hillel's Maida, it's better to do like Beis Shammai. However, he had B'tachan Hashem. Hashem will definitely give him something from better than all the rest of the days. Now, as a tikkun shiyu mechapsim begodim bechamishi b'Shabbos b'kveit Shabbos. The lubish levenim b'Shabbos. Ezra enacted that one should wash one's clothing Thursday in honor of Shabbos. Should have clean clothing Shabbos. Levenim doesn't always mean white. Levenim could also mean clean. That is clean and. And Erev Shabbos don't have time to wash because they're busy preparing for Shabbos, especially those days that doing laundry was very difficult. You had to be with the river and you had to. You have dry cleaners, so you could pick it up Erev Shabbos. But then you had to beat it on the rack and wring it out and hang it up, so it was a whole different process.
Physical hard walk to go to the river and do London.
Noyegin lalush kedeshir chala kol echav veisei las v'mlachim utzoy alim b'Shabbos. The minig is that one should need challah, the amount to take the mitzvah of challah, a certain amount to it, amount of dough, in order to make bread that you're going to use for Hamaitzi. Not to take bread from the market, from the bakery, like the rest of the week. This is something for the honor of Shabbos, and he adds in also Yom Tov.
How can we go to the bakery? It's 1 million challahs per se.
Not everyone bakes. Want to come to the house and bake?
Now, the ain l'shanes haminig. One should not change the minig. So, Paiskim point out that the Mishnah Berurah in his Bir Halacha says that the minig changed and people are no longer keeping to this. But later on, Paskim explained that the Mishnah Berurah wasn't referring to buying from a bakery fresh baked challah baked for Shabbos, referring to people that are going just buying regular bread for Shabbos. But if the bakery makes a different bread, comes Thursday, Friday, they start baking the challah, they're baking challah, and it's fresh, special for Shabbos. So that you don't have this issue. Although other poskim do say that there's still an inyan to do it, especially for the other reason. Besides the freshness, you could tell that you have fresh in the bakery. They're making fresh and they're making it special for Shabbos, so it is covered Shabbos. But mitzad, there's another reason given in Svarim for this. Why do we have to take a shir challah? If it's just in order to have fresh challahs for the covered Shabbos, special for Shabbos, the bakery also gives you fresh challahs covered Shabbos. But there's an inyan of making a shir challah. Why do you have to make enough dough that you should be able to take challah? Make less. What's the negay? You're not chayiv if it's less. So they explain that there's another idea here, is that Chava, she ruined the first challah of the world. Who was the first challah? Adam Rishon. Adam Rishon, it says, with the Eibishter's challah. The Eibishter took him out of the earth and the water. He needed him. He made him a challah.
Challah Adam.
He made challah sudden. Chava came and, with her koyach, she did what she did. So, therefore, it said that Magen Avraham brings that there's an inyan mitzad the tikkun. So that inyan you only have if you bake it yourself.
Also, it says when women do a process challah, like Cliff mentioned, they could ask a lot of stuff that moment.
Right, so people do it. Now, listen. Obviously, the other place can point out that a koil of inyan, if it's not shaykh, it's a lot of pressure and it's difficult.
But every tries to be misakin, if it messes up your shalom bayis, it doesn't help.
Right.
Yeah.
And what happens if someone doesn't know how to bake? Right, they don't bake well, and the challah in the bakery tastes a lot better. So if you're able to, and it's something easily done, and then she wants to do it, it's up to her. And if not, you buy in the bakery nice good geschmack challas. So it's not the same like Amol, that level, the minig. Ein l'shanetz a minig, not the same thing today. Sifyud Gimel, Mekoyim Shayichim Pas Shal Nachrim, place that eat Pas Shal Nachrim, Pas Akum, Pas Palter, Kol Yimoi Sachel, Tevizar Shelecha B'Shabbos Yandim, Ki Melachim HaKshedim Shiniloishim B'Beis Shizah Kwei Shabbos Yandim. Places that have Pas Akum, a whole week, they're makel, to have Pas that was baked by a Goyish baker, kosher, but it was just baked to the fire of a Goy. And it's better not to have them Shabbos Yom Tif, mitzad the Chumrah Shabbos Yom Tif. And only ones that you bake to your own house. Now, by the way, I just want to point out a side point. Pas Balabayis is always awesome. It's not a Chumrah. A Goy made in his house challah, even if he made it in a kosher, there's no treif ingredients, you're not allowed to have Pas Balabayis. Because Mishum Chasnus. Because of getting close to him, eating his foods and eating his meals, his breads, coming close to the goyim, we're worried that you get close to them and will be intermarriage.
If I put the fire, Vipat Israel.
right? But if it's going to be pas akum, then that's a chumrah, and therefore some are mekel. Chassidim are definitely machmer. Pas akum, pas palter and pas akum, but pas akum mean over here pas palter, which that's usually what we say pas akum. Then it's a chumrah, and a chumrah that Shabbos Yom Tov you should try not to eat it as well. Shabura brings this also, and Aseres Yimei Tshuva, it's also brought in Shulchan Aruch. The Alter Rebbe also mentions this, and there's an inga not to be machmer. Even those that are mekel should be machmer.
So about Holocaust.
Today's days, we need to have a hechsher on the pass, because things that were made very simple, and so the baker in Europe, things were made, it was bread,
few ingredients, and
right? It was flour, water. They knew what was in there, and it wasn't really a big deal. So you're able to supervise. You just go into the baker in the city, you see what he does, he tells you how he makes it, you look, and then the yid could it's kosher, and then if you want pas Yisrael, the yid throws in something into the fire to help the fire, makes the pas Yisrael. I heard that in yeshiva in Brunois after the war, after World War II. That's what they did for many years. There was a baker, local baker, and it was kosher. That's it. They threw something into the fire every day, and they had bread for the yeshiva. Today, it's hard to know what's going on. It's not like one guy has a little bake shop. They have a lot of workers and companies, factories,
flavoring.
And even if it's a bakery on the street, it's a whole production going on. And b'chlal, things got sophisticated how we eat. No one's eating anymore just flour and water, and they're putting in various things and smearing things and various ingredients. So now you have to only eat things with a hechsher. And then it has a hechsher, it's kosher, but it doesn't mean it's pas Yisrael unless it says on it pas Yisrael.
A lot of Syrian Jews, they're very makpid. When I was in Mendes, they used to call me and to ask me if they want a steak. Even they have fire there. Sometimes the wind push it down, so the goat can put it back.
Right.
He said, please shut it off and remake it. And I used to do it.
Because maybe it went out. They were worried. Maybe it went out.
It's trying to come up by pas Yisrael, but they have to put it on.
Yeah, they have to put it on the fire.
Yeah.
You can buy a pizza shop, not just meat. I remember hearing in Israel that some guy is walking by a pizza shop. The worker says the fire went out. I guess it was an Arab working there or a non-Jew, and he says, "You just pulled the guy off the street and said, turn the fire on."
No, it's nice. At least he didn't do it himself.
Yeah. No, he knew from someone that he couldn't do it himself.
The going next door to the restaurant, sometimes come all because they order. They're asking please come next door of the fire. They don't have to do it.
And that's a smart.
They have orders.
No. Okay.
Instead of opening 10 o'clock, they open 8 o'clock because they have a big order at 12 o'clock for lunch, let's say. So they need a fire on right away. They don't want to make their owner to come over. They told me to make their own with this one, stand up.
This is a new place? Yeah. Wouldn't there be a Mashiach there?
Mashiach did come on.
It's not constant Hashkafa.
Nicholas be except he has a camera. He has access to the camera.
Okay.
Did you have at least
Bishul Akum, there's no hetadim for Bishul Akum. Pas Akum.
No, what I meant.
So we have a hatter. Bishul Akum is very serious, and that happens a lot of times in restaurants. That there's a problem of Bishul Akum. That, like you're saying, the fire goes out.
24/7.
And this is a big problem.
Also,
Big problem. Because the guy, they went out.
Use commercial pilots. There's always a little funny.
If they have a pilot on the thing, then
not only that, they must get him turn on the oven.
They're
not electrical starters.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm saying
if they have a pilot there and the pilot didn't go off, then
you must get him to turn on the factory, the oven, with the telephone. You have a code in your phone. No matter where you are around the world, at a certain time, you put a number, the oven will go.
It's pas Yisrael.
Yeah, he uses this happen. Remote start. The video turns it
So
on.
that could be anywhere in
Some,
the world.
some restaurant, they lock
Yeah,
the
camera
gas.
and
Yeah.
they control it.
So
Yeah.
they lock it, and you have to open it. You have the key, take out the key, look up the
They put
lock.
a
These are a lot
padlock.
more sophisticated.
Yeah, very good.
These are a lot more complicated.
At night, you have to lock it. Nobody can cook. They're waiting for you.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Baruch Hashem, we live here that everything is kosher, and we have restaurant, we have bakeries.
Yeah, but you should just know that,
live in different countries,
Problems.
they have to rely on all this.
You should just know, not every, even in the restaurants and everything with all the hashkachas, even good hashkachas, but you have to be careful
You hear some
because,
stories happening, sure.
Yeah.
it's not a foolproof system. The whole system is very not foolproof. The mashgiach is not able to be there every second. He's not a bezar. When he's there, it's mahadrim and a mahadrim.
Even if you're there and you see that they're going doing
I
something.
once heard that the
You used
Mashiach,
to work also here, right? A few blocks away, or someone else. Somebody used to work in the shir. Used to be mashgiach.
Oh, yeah, the Kohen. What's his name? He's not here now. He used to come to the shir. Yeah,
Years ago, he would
yes,
come.
Yes.
Why don't they check?
You went back to Israel.
There used to be a young guy who came here like a few years ago. He moved into Flatbush, a very young guy, and he had maybe like little children. And he was like a nice guy.
He was working for Ashgofa, yeah. He used to live like three doors down. I know.
Where does he live today?
He moved out to the place.
He had maybe
Lakewood.
I'm
Lakewood.
Shiva. I'm Shiva.
No, Lakewood.
I once heard that the Mashiach has to think like a God. If the Mashiach thinks like everyone's a tzaddik, then he's not going to assume that maybe the owner does things that are not proper, or the workers do things that are not proper. If he's busy saying Tillim on the side and says everything is wonderful, then
I think one of the biggest things is if you can know who the Balabais is, it's really the Balabais is the Erliche person.
yes, yeah.
I had a problem once. Mendes used to be Chavke before become Oil. So, Zichrono Livracha, Rabbi Center, the father, I told him, it's written here, we advertise Mashgiach Midi. But I go for Mincha for 15 minutes. I'm not there. It's not Midi. And he started look after me just to get me. I said, I go to pick up medicine across the street. I'm not there for 10 minutes. Don't say Mashgiach Midi. Mashgiach, I don't know, another wording. When he said Midi, it means 24 hours. The restaurant's open there. Midi, right? And
He didn't like that.
well, he didn't like I'm against, I just told him, you can lie to me.
He didn't listen.
No.
Okay, say most the Rubba most of the time.
Right.
There is no chiyuv min hadin. I have a mashgiach.
Yeah, like you said, that's common.
Yoitzav and nichnes. But
It's policy.
it's policies that because we see what goes on, that a lot of kashrus organizations have policies. There should always be a Shomer Shabbos person in the store.
Or Shomeret Shabbos.
Geisha owner, they're much more macro on these things.
We had a lady there that when nobody there, she lived there. Not by Mendes, but here, sport.
Someone was telling me the other day that there's a guy who was like a Reformed Jew who they knew, and he used to own like a restaurant or something, and it was under the triangle K. And he told them that he was telling these Lubavitchers that, when he used to have this business, so whenever the mashgiach would come from the triangle K, he would hand them a whole stack of bills and send them home.
That's it, don't come
Oh, here you paid, and don't worry. So triangle people know triangle K is not a shkacha. That's no, that none of the kashrus organizations rely on any of their products. That all the kashrus organizations work together. Not everyone has right, because a company says I want to use a certain ingredient or something. Well, that ingredient's from a different kashrus organization. They have to work together. You can't. So they have to say, okay, we rely on that organization. So you can, or they went and call up and they find out what they did. If they want to know what their policy was in that with that specific food item. And they say, okay, you could use that. If let's say the OU, the OK give a hechsher in a restaurant, they don't shecht meat. They have to let them know which meats that they allow you to go, which hechsherim you can use. We tell you you can use hechsher A, B, C. That they have you could choose and make your deals with them. But you can't go out of the people we're telling you. We don't know. These are the ones that we respect. One of the OK mashkichim told me that he goes down. Because the OU, the restaurants use like 5 different types of shchitas that they allow. The OK itself doesn't have their own shlachtos and shchit. They don't give a hechsher meat. He said he's a shoychit. He's someone who goes down to the shlachtaizer and the base of shchita, and he goes once a year. He checks out the system to make sure that the OK is happy with it, that it can continue being on the list of their approved places. Now these places have their own good hechsherim, but OK wants to make sure that if we're going to allow them to use this one, we have to know what's going on over there. We should.
When we opened Pesach in Mendes, the second year, I think, so the OU told us what's matzah to use. They want the only matzah that has OU. And we can get like Yehuda, maybe cheaper or something. Say no, only I think Aviv matzah or something. So OU. So I told my Shrier, I said, it's not fair for the restaurant. If I sell so much and I need something cheaper, you cannot tell me to buy this is $10 more case. He said, this is the OU. I said, okay. So we have to buy it.
Okay. Sometimes they have cashless reasons. Sometimes there's business involved in all this.
All the cashless business.
It's the strongest one in the soil is my land from Nebo.
Yeah.
When you give an extra, everybody could go guys and know. Every time he took a pressure, he never put back. Never. Once he took a pressure from somebody, he never gave it back, no matter what happened. People scared. That was his policy.
Still alive?
That was the grandfather. The grandson.
The grandson.
Good business, don't worry. It's a good business. He loses the client.
Although the OU and all these organizations, most of them are not for profit, but the organization wants to earn money and do the different things that they do. They provide different programming, whatever they want, and maybe the executives get a larger salary, but it's a formally they're not run as businesses. They're not someone's personal.
Private ones are more of a business than the community like the Vada Flapish is a community organization. It's not one rabbi
privately owned.
Right. Makes a profit,
Right, you have a guy in Bar Park or whatever it is, a private person who has a hechsher.
And it may be reliable. I mean,
it's reliable, but it's a private thing. It's private funding. A lot of the Rebbes and things like that, and the Rabbanim, they don't have a way to make money. They need a salary. So the way they make the business is they put up a hechsher. Shkacha brings in money. So this is
$2,500 to $5,000 a restaurant.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they have to have people.
You got a hechsher, that's it.
Like we're like Gordon
check it
Cat.
himself.
That's all it costs to get a hechsher?
He does it himself. He goes around
Depends how
the
big
Okay.
He has a system of going around to all of them.
It depends if it's a
factory.
Used to be
It becomes the issue when they want to turn down a restaurant. You don't want to take it away the restaurant. And there's a lot of competition. It becomes a very big issue.
So Rabbi Ram Shor, Rabbi Ram Shor has a shul on Coney Island Avenue between J and K. He said he does not trust any of those restaurants to eat. I heard it from his mouth. He was just talking about it. He was mentioning.
But I'm sure Ms. Probably does not eat out of his own kitchen.
That's probably. He's very strict, very big Baal Musar too.
Yeah.
The boss said if you want to eat kosher, eat at home.
What's that?
No, the boss said if you want to eat kosher, eat at home.
I saw that there was a tshuva from the Satmarav that he wrote. One of his talmidim wanted to open up a hechsher and call it Mahadrim. Wanted to make a hechsher. He wanted to open a hechsher. He wanted his Rebbe's approval. They told him that you can make hashgacha, but don't call it Mahadrim. There's no such a thing as a company that's Mahadrim. There's no hashgacha, it's Mahadrim. Try your best, but it's not Mahadrim. You have to rely on various kulis. Yeah, you do. Listen, we have to do our best and rely on hashgachas, but we should also train ourselves and our family that not everything out there, everything goes. Some things we don't eat, certain hashgachas we rely upon, certain stores we're not comfortable with. You have to have a certain sense of awareness when it comes to these things. A simpler product, we could be more makel, but something more complex. You see a store run by Freie people or Goyim. I clearly heard, the whole story happened in the Chinese restaurant, but I heard from Rabbi Levy's son-in-law, works in the OK, Rabbi Hanoka, had him come to the Koilo, give a shir in Kashrus about a year ago or so, maybe it's 2 years ago, and he said they were asking him what things to be machmer on, and it was hard for him to talk because, it's being recorded and videoed, so you have to be careful what you say about other organizations. But one thing he said clearly, if you could be machmer, not to eat in a restaurant that's owned by someone who's not from or a guy, it's a worthy chum to take on. That's what he said. It's a worthy chum to take on.
A lot of restaurants in the city are owned by guys.
Right. In Manhattan?
Yeah, the Wall Street Grill.
Interesting. Is it so much more worth it to make a Jewish business than to make a treifa business?
Well, there's more money.
Make it open up a treifa business. Why does the guy want to open up?
Oh yeah, it's clientele.
The area.
So you don't have even packing into the place like this every night.
He's saying is that whole Goyim, you have a bigger competition.
You don't have a lot of people. Goyim don't even have that much.
Really?
Yeah, not
Going to drink.
Goyim don't going out to eat.
Not $300 a person.
Really interesting. I didn't realize that.
It's more drinking and.
Listen, it's not. Someone can't say Chas V'Shalom it's not kosher. It's kosher. It's with a hashgacha and they have systems in place. But this is much more difficult.
It's very hard for you to run a business like this because it's every night. So you as a family, it's not. It's hard for them to go to work. It's from 4 o'clock to 12 o'clock at night.
I hear you.
Not that much of a merry month.
I hear you.
Not to see his kids.
Yeah, the poil they give hashgachas, but and it's probably now they're tightening up the rules more after this. What happened, but Lamaisa is not everywhere that we're invited to eat we have to eat.
Rabbi Lando in Bnei Brak says used to be hanging out boys and girls in the pizza or falafel or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
He said, if you want my action, by 7 o'clock, all the chairs have to get out from the restaurant. People could come, take the food and go home. But
take out.
You cannot sit down and eat after 7 o'clock. All neighbor.
Okay, which rule others?
If I come in and see somebody sitting down, I take my action. That means you could close the business.
In Google law, at least there's one pizza shop that's separate seating.
Fine, but the point is that it has nothing to do with the halacha. It's just, you want my action, that's the rules.
Yeah. Okay, Rabbi say the next few simonim are about very difficult halachas about hiring workers, a goyim to do work for you on construction and various things. It's not something we're going to tackle. We're going to skip a few simonim. We'll go to Siman Reish Mem Tes. Siman Reish Mem Tes. Page Ayin Gimel. Ug. Uga. Dinim hashayachim le'erev Shabbos. Also, Adam sheyeh halich be'erev Shabbos yoysim egimel parsois mitchilas hayoyim. They sheyagia l'makim shisasei be'oid hayoyim gadol. Yuvalachim l'sham tzarchei Shabbos. A person should not travel longer than distance of 3 parses in the beginning of the day, a distance it takes to walk 3 parses. In order you should be able to arrive early enough for Shabbos, enough time to prepare the Tzarchei Shabbos. I feel a bit Indian Shem Yelech Yoisi Gila Beisai Ubni Beisai Afshi Samuel Libam Shema Yavayemi Chinagam Shvilei. Even if it's a situation where if you'll go a little bit more than that amount, you'll get to your home and your family possibly knew you were going to come and they prepared for you. Alpha became also Shemala Yisama Libam Kalal Mibiyasa Vichin Leklum. Maybe they did not remember that you're coming. They didn't prepare for you. I mean, you do Allahem Bavade Shiavayim, in Shashalam Shriach Edim, Shrin Derech Nesiasa Bebeise, Koy Nesiasa Bebeise, Montilela Kolayim. However, you notified your family, you sent them a message that you're on the way, you're coming, should be prepared for you, make you food for Shabbos, then you're allowed to travel a whole day. The calls of Shemakim Shuychalach Shem Shabbos, Hoyshachenim Yichinle. However, it's only in a place where you can prepare for yourself Tzarchei Shabbos, or others can prepare for you. So therefore, don't travel more than 3 parses, because maybe the place where you're going, you'll come late, and it's going to be too late to prepare. But that's only if you're going to stay where this place where you are traveling, you're going to have a way to make Shabbos over there. But what happens if being over here, you're anyways not going to have Tzarchei Shabbos, now others are not going to, then better to not do this, to continue even more than 3 parses, because here you're going to sure not have Shabbos. You don't have Shabbos, there's no one preparing for you. Then continue traveling, so you'll get, possibly you'll get home and you'll get used to the Shabbos there.
Technical, when that was written, they would have
right. But over here, it's the distance it takes to walk 3 parses. So, meaning the time it takes to. Things did change today. You can call, you can let them know you're coming. There's no issue. You let people know you're coming, you're going to be late, you're going to be coming. They should prepare for you, whatever is necessary. You let them know. Send them a message.
That's not what I understood what you meant. I thought it meant that you may not make it to Shabbos.
No. Now we're talking, you'll make it for Shabbos, but you're not going to have time to prepare for Shabbos.
In your house,
You're not going to have, your host might not know you're coming, they're not prepared, but if they know, you let them know you're coming, then you can travel. We'll see soon about what you're referring to. We'll talk about going on a wagon and a horse. Let's wait. Okay, like we said, better than staying there that you vadai won't have so the Shabbos, travel and maybe Suffolk you'll have so this Shabbos. What happens if you have food with you in your knapsack? You have some food with you that you can have for Shabbos. In a place that there's no village, there's nowhere to stay. You're in a forest, a midbar. It's not a secure place. You're allowed to travel long distances on Erev Shabbos until you will arrive at an appropriate place, a secure place that you can be for Shabbos. A person's in a place where he doesn't feel safe and secure. The whole Shabbos you're worried. I'm a place, who knows what's going on up here? Wild animals. There's a ganavim here. Paul's like it's only when you're walking with your feet. You're riding on a horse. You're going with a wagon. Then this doesn't apply. Because you have a way like an automobile. Well, therefore, this doesn't apply. However, we call mocking still an only halach yoysin shirish mahalach kimasay shalom beinni mahalach beraglov. Now dal shoyis v'dal chumshim mishoyis beinishim chav dal meislays.
You did that for airplane.
You still should not work. You should not go more than the amount, the time it takes to walk 3 parses. So you can go many parses, but you shouldn't go more than the time it takes to walk 3 parses. For an average person, a Talmudic measurement, which is 4 hours and 4/5 of an hour.
By the way,
which is an issue, and people are going to the bungalow and things like that. And unfortunately, I experienced it myself. You leave late,
Get stuck.
You get stuck. And I Baruch Hashem, I came in a few minutes before, 10 minutes before, but
I'm never going to do it.
But that, you learn your lesson. You get stuck in Manhattan, you get stuck in places like that, and traffic. And besides for the issue of Shabbos, it's also you're sitting in a car for hours and end. And I had a story with a guy I was giving a shir once, and someone told me, a younger man, that he had a story. He was going to Muncie for Shabbos. And he left late, but he still thought he could make it. And he had tremendous traffic. And it was winter. And it became the Shkia. He had to pull off on the side of the road. He was still quite a distance away from where he was supposed to be for Shabbos. And here he had to turn off the car and wait until he came off, and he had a family with him.
And he walked.
So a non-Jewish person, he couldn't walk. It was a highway. It was like somewhere pulled off somewhere. I don't know what it was. A non-Jewish person came over, and he told the person his predicament. He said to him, "I'll pay you if you drive me to my." So the guy was a nice guy. He said he'll do it for him. He said, "I'll pay you in this." So he'll drive him to the place. And the guy, he didn't have directions even where to go, because directions were on his phone. He had like Waze or something, and he had the directions put in to where he was going to stay for Shabbos. So he told him his phone was already turned off, because he turned it off. It came Shkia. So the guy turned on his phone and got the Waze, and he felt very guilty and bad about it. And he was asking me, what's he supposed to do? He had his children there, and it was cold, and what's he going to do with them? He had no choice. He had to take a Amir La'akum, but what could he do? But this is a situation where we can't put ourselves into of leaving late.
I had one time when I was in the army in the Sinai Desert, and I got a tram to go next Hebron, and from Hebron to come to Yerushalayim. I took a taxi from Hebron. It was Shabbat already, so I tell him get off far away. I walked maybe 5 hours.
Wow! And
I had my gun, my stuffy, heavy stuff. It's not the nicest thing is that my wife, then we were going out, she was Shabbat by us. And everybody said it's already Shabbat, 2 hours, 3 hours, he's not coming. She said he's coming. And then knocked in the door and I got him.
This
never forget this.
This past Shabbos, I saw in the corner on J a pedicab. And it had a sign. It was a pedicab. In other words, a guy would bicycle, and he had an attachment, or he had where somebody could sit. And there was a big sign that said pedicab for Shabbos, and Yom Tov or something. And it was a black, and I've never seen anything like it in this neighborhood. Never. And coming back from the mikvah, this is what it got about 9:30 in the morning on Shabbos. He was across the street by a house.
He had customers?
For somebody, maybe he was infirm, or I don't know. I never saw it before in this neighborhood.
Stardom themselves used to buy.
Never saw it.
Wow.
So he writes something. He has a sign on it.
Did you ever hear of it?
That's what he's afraid of.
People go by wheelchair, go by. But I never saw a pedicab, somebody being taken to.
Didn't like holding the foil.
Not a Shabbos to the thing in terms of
right. Not a Shabbos to the activity.
I had to for a pedicab and a guy.
He said there was someone that was a handicapped person.
Could be.
What we have to go to my one more small sip. Let's finish up this Inyan. So Dalam Dinas Elu, very important halacha in these countries.